It's a name that's become synonymous with Dwayne Johnson.
If you smile,
but he's never owned it.
The Rock.
That nickname, a nod to Johnson's father, Hall of Famer Rocky Johnson, who was the first black champion in WWE history. For years, Dwayne Johnson has been trying to get the rights to the name, and now he's not only gotten that, but a seat on the board of WWE owner TKO Group. WWE also inking a 10-year, $5 billion deal with Netflix in a big shakeup in the streaming industry. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Classes taking place today at Cal State. Nearly 30,000 professors and other workers announced a tentative deal averting a strike. And on Wall Street, the Dow is down 112 points. Dave Packer, ABC News.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Whitloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Tuesday afternoon, January 23rd. New leadership coming for Clallam County Fire District 3. The fire district announcing this week the appointment of Justin Greider to be the new fire chief there. Greider previously was the deputy fire chief of Los Alamos Fire Department in New Mexico. Currently, he's the deputy fire chief at Clallam 2 Fire Rescue out of Port Angeles. Chief Greider will replace interim chief Dan Orr, who's been leading the district since May of last year. Planned March 1st start for Greider. The Dream Playground rebuild project in Port Angeles is tentatively scheduled to begin the third week in May now. Since the playground's main structures were burned to the ground in the wee hours of December 20th, the public has gone from their initial shock to calling for a rebuild as soon as possible and backing those words up with some serious fundraising. Dream Playground Foundation President Steve Methner says the plan now is to rebuild the playground to look just like the old one. He explains the reasoning behind that.
When a kid goes to the playground with their grandma, they go over to their swing, or they go over to their tunnel, or the place where they play. This is their special spot, and this is their routine. And one of the most important things in childhood is routine. And so we decided that what's best for kids is speed. So we want to get it done as quickly as we can. And yes, that means we'll probably have to do it in a very similar way because it's already on the shelf. So we don't have to go through redesign or permitting, or, we can sort of redo the same engineering and everything.
The estimated cost for the rebuild, about $500,000, but about half of that is already in place, and more money continues to come in from small fundraisers all around the community. Methner says he's impressed with the sustained public support to get this project completed.
There's so many businesses and nonprofits and individuals who've had these great ideas for fundraisers they want to do, and we say, great, please do them. We don't really have the horsepower to sort of be a moment-to-moment partner in those things because there's been 6 or 7 of them already. But people are being really good and understanding about just taking care of it. There's a community event happening to kind of get everybody together again at the Field Arts and Events Center. That's a movie night for kids. It's a free movie night. It's a pajama night, so kids and everybody come in your pajamas, and we'll try to give the community an update. That's on the 31st of this month, so that's coming right up.
City of Port Angeles also exploring insurance reimbursement to pay for some of the cost to rebuild. You can find out more about all of it at padreamplayground.org online. That's padreamplayground.org. More news after this.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Have you received your shingles vaccine yet? If you're 50 and over, it's time to receive your Shingrix vaccines. This is a 2-shot series that may or may not be covered by your insurance unless you are on Medicare. Please head down to our vaccine station to fill out the consent forms, and we can run your insurance and help you figure out your copay. Jim's Pharmacy is dedicated to all of your health and wellness needs. Let our professional staff steer you in the right direction. Jim's Pharmacy, open 7 days a week.
There's been an influx of chihuahuas.
Yeah, I know. I know because there's an influx of illegal immigration, and they're all bringing their chihuahuas with them. Yes, you're right, and we should do something about it. Although I don't know unless they pass some anti-chihuahua litigation or legislation, which is going in the works, by the way. There's been a couple of Congress people that have introduced anti-chihuahua illegal immigration. Yeah.
Catch Handle on the Law Saturday afternoons at 4 on Newsradio KONP. In other news, the City of Port Angeles Planning Commission holding a public hearing for regulation of short-term lodging tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Members of the public encouraged to attend and provide input on 5 alternatives being presented. Those range from allowing an unlimited number of new short-term rentals citywide in all commercial and residential zones to restricting how many would be allowed and where they could be located. Each alternative also provides a pathway for existing short-term rentals, which are not in compliance with current zoning, to pay a fee and be allowed to continue as an approved non-conforming use. This will be conducted as a hybrid meeting event. Participation welcome either in person at the City Council chambers or virtually via WebEx on the city's website. Additional meeting information can be found at that website, cityofpa.us. Now, following completion of the city's public outreach process, the City Planning Commission will provide recommendations to the City Council for review. If approved, city staff anticipate a comprehensive licensing and fee structure program could roll out in July of this year. To Olympia, where discussion yesterday on biometrics for buying liquor.
Members of the Senate Labor and Commerce Committee convened for a public hearing Monday morning to discuss Senate Bill 6179, which aims to allow biometric ID checks for liquor purchases. The bill aims to allow the use of biometric IDs for liquor purchases in the state. Bob Battles of the Association of Washington Business testified in favor of the bill.
It's a high-tech system that allows them to deal with the issue of fake IDs and the concerns there. It also allows, what it does is you log into the system, you opt into it, you upload your ID, but that does not get stayed in the system. It eventually moves. This is actually a good use of the technology. It's an opt-in system. It's reliable. It's already being used in our stadiums right now for non-alcohol food purchases.
Delaware North, concessions provider at Climate Pledge Arena, also shared their support for the bill.
We support the use of this technology and this highly sophisticated tool to combat both fake IDs and to verify that customers are of legal drinking age. This both limits our liability and it keeps young people safe. Use of this technology specifically at Climate Pledge will lead to reduced wait times and further enhance our fan experience.
No one testified in opposition.
New report has unveiled some details about the ways people spend their time and money in the outdoors in Washington state. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife released a report last week that found more than 7.5 million people participated in hunting, fishing, and wildlife watching in our state in the year 2022. In turn, those people spent a combined $9 billion on trips and gear. Wildlife watching was by far the most popular activity covered in the report. The data showed that about 6.2 million people watched wildlife in 2022. Fishing came next with 1.2 million participants, and hunting a distant third with just under 300,000. Those numbers include residents and non-residents, but the majority were Washingtonians. The report found that 4.4 million Washington residents participated in wildlife-related activities in 2022, or about 72% of the state's population. This is Newsradio KONP.
Bathfitter does showers? That's right. We offer a wide selection of beautiful and functional showers. We can even convert your bath into a shower. With our seamless one-piece walls and hundreds of design options, you'll get a beautiful new shower guaranteed for life. Bathfitter's been around for 40 years, and we've been experts at showers for just as long. Bathfitter, it just fits.
At Bathfitter Northwest, pay nothing until 2025. Just call 800-NEW-BATH. OAC, see store for details.
At Straight View Credit Union, we believe that fast, flexible loan decisions are key to helping our members achieve their financial goals. That's why we're proud to offer a streamlined loan application process that takes place entirely in-house. All loan decisions are made locally, right here in our building, by our experienced lending team. This means that we can typically approve loans within 1 to 2 days, so you can get the funds you need quickly and efficiently. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we're committed to putting your needs first and providing personalized service that helps you achieve your financial goals. So, whether you're looking to purchase a new car, purchase a new home, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Visit us online at svcu.com or stop by our branch on Lincoln Street in Port Angeles to apply for your loan today. Straight View Credit Union. Fast, flexible loan decisions to help you reach your financial goals. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
All Weather Heating and Cooling is your Mitsubishi authorized dealer. Mitsubishi electric heating and cooling systems offer efficient individual room control with allergen filtration, no ductwork, and dramatic energy savings. Mitsubishi Heating and Cooling Systems. Live better. Contact All Weather Heating and Cooling today.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 54. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Isolated rain showers likely. Tonight, lows level off around 40, overcast skies. Isolated rain showers likely. Tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 49, overcast skies.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. A big night for Joel Embiid. The 76ers hosting the Spurs.
And Embiid with the ball after a steal. Joel drives it down the lane. Left-hand layup. It's up and good.
The call on WPEN, that was Embiid's 70th point of the game, a career and franchise high as the Sixers beat the Spurs 132-123. Embiid speaking postgame on scoring 70 on the same date 18 years ago that the late Kobe Bryant scored 81.
Kobe was my guy. He's the reason why I started playing basketball. And it's funny because on the same night you had 81, and that was my favorite player.
In a game during which Karl Anthony Towns scored a career-high 62 points, the lowly Hornets outscored the West-leading T-Wolves by 18 points in the fourth quarter to deal an embarrassing 128-125 loss to Minnesota. The Celtics beat the Mavs 119-110. Giannis logged a triple-double in the Bucks' 122-113 decision over the Pistons. The Cavs drubbed the Magic 126-99. Kings crushed the Hawks 122-107. In Phoenix, the Suns rallied from down 23 to tie the Bulls late in the fourth quarter, 113 all with time winding down.
Bounces to KD. Pull-up jumper at the buzzer. He got it!
The call on KMVP, Suns win 115-113. NCAA men's top 25, number 3 North Carolina pounded Wake Forest 85-64. 7th-ranked Kansas edged Cincinnati 74-69. NHL, Devils, Golden Knights tied at 5 in overtime.
Picked off by Hughes. Across come the Devils. Hughes for Toffoli. He scores!
The call on the Devils Hockey Radio Network. Devils win 6-5. Bruins beat the Jets 4-1. Canucks shut out the Blackhawks 2-zip. Florida skates by Nashville 4-1. This is Rich Cantu, ABC Sports.
In local sports, 3 weeks from today, the district boys basketball tournament starts, and with 2 weeks left in league play, teams are trying to position themselves for their highest seeds possible. And to help you follow that action, KONP will be broadcasting 8 games in the next 5 days, starting tonight with an Olympic League doubleheader in Paulsbo as the Squim Wolves take on the North Kitsap Vikings. The Wolves girls team 2 weeks ago were the favorites to repeat as Olympic League champs. The Wolves are now in a close race with Kingston for second place, just a half game up on the Buccaneers. The Wolves have to travel to Kingston and then Port Angeles. The Rough Riders sit on top of the Olympic League standings, 2 games ahead of Squim. The Wolves tip off tonight at 6:30 in a game the Wolves need to find some confidence and get back on the winning track. The Wolves are 6-3 in league, 8-4 overall. The Vikings 2-6 in league, 7-6 overall. Now the Wolves boys team will be major underdogs tonight against 4th-ranked North Kitsap. Viking guards Kate Ernest at 6'5" senior and 6'3" senior guard Harry Davies are 2 of the top players in the whole state, with both players averaging about 25 points a game. The Vikings' 8 league wins have all been blowouts, too. The boys' game tips off at 8 tonight. Ole Archibald and Greg Thomas will have the live play-by-play of both of those games tonight. The Rough Rider girls will be 20-point favorites tonight at Olympic And then we'll have a big game at Bainbridge next Thursday, in a game you will hear on KONP. A Rough Rider win would clinch at least his share of the Olympic League championship. Now, the Rough Rider boys will be 4-touchdown favorites at home tonight as they will host Olympic. Tip-off for that game is at 7 o'clock. It's a big NWAC doubleheader for the Peninsula Pirates tomorrow night at Skagit Valley. The 5th-ranked women take on an injured and beat-up Cardinal team. The Pirate men also in first place in the Northern Conference, but will take on a very tough Cardinal team that's now 2-1 and 17-1 overall. Both games will be broadcast right here on KONP. Ole Archibald and Bill Bates will have the live play-by-play. And at halftime, a live interview with former Rough Rider pitcher Tegan Clark and former Squim pitcher Lainey Vig. Clark and Vig are now pitching for the Cardinals' fast-pitch team.
Since 1955, our community has enjoyed Pepsi products right from our local bottler, Peninsula Bottling. And for decades, this product has been a part of each generation in some way. From memorable jingles to hilarious commercials and big celebrity endorsements, Pepsi was and is still part of your generation.
Pepsi belongs to your generation. Why else would Pepsi try so hard to be where you are? Everywhere.
Thanks, Peninsula Bottling, for being a part of our generation.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Apple is taking a big step back in its decade-long effort to build a car. It's shifting gears to a less ambitious design that will still be electric but will not drive itself. The car won't be out till 2028 at the earliest. United Airlines running out of patience with Boeing's manufacturing issues. CEO Scott Kirby is looking for alternatives to the 737 MAX 10, which is already years behind schedule. For Boeing, it means orders and options for 477 planes are in jeopardy. Stocks are mixed in the final hour, with the Dow backing away from the all-time high reached yesterday. Dow Industrial's down 82, the S&P is up 13, the Nasdaq gaining 57. A turnaround story at Verizon in the fourth quarter. It added the most mobile customers in 2 years, 318,000. Analysts expected less than one-third that number. It follows 3 consecutive quarters of subscriber losses. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a check of the roads this noon hour next. Brought to you by McCrory Carpet One and Leeds Farm Supply.
Buying locally doesn't always mean paying more. At McCrory Carpet One, they're a part of a cooperative that bands together over 1,000 family businesses just like them to form the largest floor buying group in America. Together, they buy over $7 billion in flooring. That means not only do you get the best prices and quality installation, but you help support local jobs and families. For over 60 years, always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
Bad Boy Mowers' legendary reputation for build strength, performance, and value is now available with Bad Boy tractors. From mid-size to subcompact models, powered by 22 to 35 horsepower water-cooled diesel engines, your tractor work just got real. Easy on the farm, the ranch, or even around the house. Bad Boy tractors deliver on power and durability all day, every day.
Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales is your Bad Boy tractor dealer in Squim.
Bad Boy tractors. Work with an attitude.
Newsradio KONP. Traffic and roads.
At the Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go. That is where Steve's standing by with a check of the roads for us this noon hour for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, looking good out there. If you're at Port Angeles or Squim area, you should be doing pretty well on the commute or getting around town today. Both Port Angeles and Squim, just light to moderate traffic right now. Moving along pretty close to the speed limit. Just expect some slowdowns around the stoplights, things like that. Overall, it should be pretty good for you. Same thing with Highway 101 between Port Angeles and Squim. Things are moving along pretty good out there. If you're headed out any further, Hood Canal Bridge, good to go with no scheduled marine openings, and state ferries currently are running on time today. If you're headed out to the west end, 101 is in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. Just light to moderate traffic out there as well. It's moving along at the speed limit. A few spotty rain showers, but other than that, you should be in good shape. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Clouds and a little bit of drizzle here and there across the peninsula now. 49 in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, it's also 49. Sequim now at 51. 47 in downtown Port Angeles, and out at Fairchild Airport, it is 52 degrees.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
I'll bet just about anybody listening is familiar with the term helicopter parents. They're the moms and the dads who hover over their kids, trying maybe a little too hard to guide them and protect them. And by this point, there's a lot of research bears out that helicopter parenting can do some real damage to your child's development. So it may be in your best interest to back off from time to time. Now, one place where that's really important, according to a trio of professors at Western Sydney University in Australia, is the playground. Here is where kids learn how to navigate risk. Their advice: think about the words you're using. Saying "be careful" can cause kids to be afraid, so reframe your language to something more supportive. Give useful advice like how to climb a ladder, and within reason, let your kids decide what they are ready for. Sometimes they'll surprise you. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. As you know, I have a great interest in history and a greater curiosity of the future. But what about today? I'll tell you the story after this important message.
If you've been hearing my radio programs now for the last 20 years, you know that I've been telling the true stories of those who have followed God's ways to make America the greatest nation in the world. So what's the latest? Well, we're now doing this nation-saving work full-time, and we need your help by becoming one of our ambassadors, subscribing to All We Have for just $5.95 per month. To get what? Number one, full access to our amazing website that is full of over 100 true stories to teach us with these stories how America is to act and operate. We also have lessons for all ages to teach us what we must do now. And our children, they will be our nation's leaders very soon. I will have live presentations online for you to hear, maybe even to participate. And when must this all get started? Now. Call our offices today at 817-995-6965 or go to our website at www.jerrystewartusa.com and email our office. God bless you.
I believe it's so important to know history. Why? One very wise philosopher said, "He who refuses to learn from the past is doomed to repeat it." How true. And of course, there's the future. We have to be concerned about those coming after us. But what's our best hope for today? To realize that what we do today will be tomorrow's history. And what we do today matters. It was Abraham Lincoln who said, "I don't know what my grandfather was. I'm more concerned to know what his grandson will be." It's up to us today to carry the torch for America, to stand up for what is good and right and lasting. What's your part in all this? Think about it. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Representative Joel Kretz has introduced a bill that would change how the state currently defines a rural community. Kretz says the legislation would help the state's rural towns be more competitive for grants and other funding sources for high-speed internet services.
When we put money into rural in the state of Washington, what I've noticed is it seldom makes it much further out than North Bend. That is not rural. if we're going to talk about getting internet out to the rural parts, we've got to be looking at different ways of doing it, and I think this definition would go a long ways toward it.
The bill would change Washington's definition of rural from being 100 residents per square mile to 50. Moses Lake man is in jail on drug charges following a traffic stop. Grant County Sheriff's Office says 46-year-old Brian Bickle was pulled over inside the Moses Lake city limits, and when deputies obtained a warrant to search his vehicle, they discovered crystal meth and cocaine. Bickle was also found in possession of drug paraphernalia. He was arrested and booked into the Grant County Jail. And details have finally been released after a shooting in Kennewick between teenagers last week. Kennewick police responded to a weapons complaint January 18th on the 700 block of West Vineyard Drive. Two different groups of teens met in a parking lot with the goal to fight. One teenager pulled out a gun, then two tried to get the gun from him, causing shots to be fired. No one was injured, and a group of teenagers with the gun left the area. The shots were fired before police arrived. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. At a campaign rally in Laconia, New Hampshire, former President Donald Trump says that Nikki Haley is being helped by Democrats in today's primary.
Democrats are not supposed to be voting in Republican primaries. Do we agree?
Meanwhile, Nikki Haley tells the Salem Radio Network that win or lose today in New Hampshire, she plans to remain in the presidential race.
We're going to go on to my sweet state of South Carolina, and they're going to vote, and then we're going to go on further. And I think, that's democracy. That's exactly what makes America strong, and that's what we're going to continue to focus on. But we feel very good about where we are.
Today's primary, the first to feature just Trump and Haley. Also at townhall.com, Donald Trump's sexual abuse defamation trial is postponed now until Wednesday. After a juror got sick with possible COVID, Julie Walker has more in this report.
The former president bouncing from the courtroom Monday to the campaign trail Tuesday in New Hampshire. On Wednesday, Trump is expected back here in New York, possibly taking the witness stand in the defamation trial against him to determine how much in additional damages he will have to pay writer E. Jean Carroll. She was awarded $5 million in the first trial by a different jury that found him liable for sexually assaulting her in the 1990s, then defaming her. Trump denying any wrongdoing, calling her a liar. Julie Walker, New York.
A man suspected of shooting and killing 8 people in suburban Chicago fatally shot himself after a confrontation at a gas station with law enforcement officials in Texas. 23-year-old Romeo Nance was located by U.S. Marshals near Natalia, Texas, about 30 miles southwest of San Antonio. Authorities suspect he was trying to reach Mexico. The Dow is down 92 points. The NASDAQ ahead 38. More at townhall.com.
The new FedNow system is paving the way for the digital dollar. It grants the government unprecedented access to your financial transactions. This isn't just an invasion of privacy. It's a direct assault on your liberty and hard-earned money. It's another reason why I recommend physical gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnow. I'm a news analyst and a podcaster with nearly 25 million downloads to people just like you who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Big Brother while also preserving your retirement savings through almost anything, including economic crashes, political instability, and even hyperinflation. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text FAITH to 989898. And remember, there's no strings attached. Text FAITH to the number 989898 right now. and I pray you're blessed with continued prosperity.
On the international front, Chinese state media say around 20 people are confirmed dead. At least 24 remain missing after a landslide in a remote mountainous part of the southwestern province of Yunnan. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma with the report.
The disaster struck just before 6 a.m. on Monday in the northeastern part of the province. Authorities resumed search and rescue operations Tuesday after suspending the work temporarily due to another landslide alert. More than 1,000 rescuers are working amid freezing temperatures and falling snow, according to the Ministry of Emergency Management. 2 survivors were rescued on Monday. A state news agency, citing a preliminary investigation by local experts, said the landslide was triggered by the collapse of a steep cliff-top area. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Employees of the California State University system have reached a tentative contract agreement and will end their planned strike against the nation's largest public university system. That deal announced Monday night. A Kansas couple has been charged with collecting more than $200,000 in retirement benefits on behalf of a dead relative.
Police say Lynn and Kirk Ritter allegedly concealed the body in their home for 6 years. Authorities say Mike Carroll's pacemaker showed that he died in 2016 at the age of 81. But Overland Park police didn't discover his body until 2022. That's when Kirk Ritter called police to finally report the death. Prosecutors say the Ritters continued depositing and spending from Carroll's bank account even while his body became mummified on a bed. Jason Walker reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Whitloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Tuesday afternoon, January 23rd. New leadership coming for Clallam County Fire District 3. The fire district announcing this week the appointment of Justin Greider to be the new fire chief there. Greider previously was the deputy fire chief of Los Alamos Fire Department in New Mexico. Currently, he's the deputy fire chief at Clallam 2 Fire Rescue out of Port Angeles. Chief Greider will replace interim Chief Dan Orr, who's been leading the district since May of last year. Planned March 1st start for Greider. The Dream Playground rebuild project in Port Angeles is tentatively scheduled to begin the 3rd week in May now. Since the playground's main structures were burned to the ground in the wee hours of December 20th, the public has gone from their initial shock to calling for a rebuild as soon as possible and backing those words up with some serious fundraising. Dream Playground Foundation President Steve Methner says the plan now is to rebuild the playground to look just like the old one. He explains the reasoning behind that.
When a kid goes to the playground with their grandma, they go over to their swing, or they go over to their tunnel, or the place where they play. This is their special spot, and this is their routine. And one of the most important things in childhood is routine. And so we decided that what's best for kids is speed. So we want to get it done as quickly as we can. And yes, that means we'll probably have to do it in a very similar way because it's already on the shelf. So we don't have to go through redesign or permitting, or, we can sort of redo the same engineering and everything.
The estimated cost for the rebuild about $500,000, but about half of that is already in place, and more money continues to come in from small fundraisers all around the community. Methner says he's impressed with the sustained public support to get this project completed.
There's so many businesses and nonprofits and individuals who've had these great ideas for fundraisers they want to do, and we say, great, please do them. We don't really have the horsepower to sort of be a moment-to-moment partner in those things because there's been 6 or 7 of them already. But people are being really good and understanding about just taking care of it. There's a community event happening to kind of get everybody together again at the Field Arts and Events Center. That's a movie night for kids. It's a free movie night. It's a pajama night, so kids and everybody come in your pajamas, and we'll try to give the community an update. That's on the 31st of this month, so that's coming right up.
City of Port Angeles also exploring insurance reimbursement to pay for some of the cost to rebuild. You can find out more about all of it at padreamplayground.org online. That's padreamplayground.org. town.org. In other news, the City of Port Angeles Planning Commission holding a public hearing for regulation of short-term lodging tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. Members of the public encouraged to attend and provide input on 5 alternatives being presented. Those range from allowing an unlimited number of new short-term rentals citywide in all commercial and residential zones to restricting how many would be allowed and where they could be located. Each alternative also provides a pathway for existing short-term rentals, which are not in compliance with current zoning, to pay a fee and be allowed to continue as an approved non-conforming use. This will be conducted as a hybrid meeting event. Participation welcome either in person at the City Council chambers or virtually via WebEx on the city's website. Additional meeting information can be found at that website, cityofpa.us. Now, following completion of the city's public outreach process, the City Planning Commission will provide recommendations to the City Council for review. If approved, city staff anticipate a comprehensive licensing and fee structure program could roll out in July of this year. To Olympia, where discussion yesterday on biometrics for buying liquor.
Members of the Senate Labor and Commerce Committee convened for a public hearing Monday morning to discuss Senate Bill 6179, which aims to allow biometric ID checks for liquor purchases. The bill aims to allow the use of biometric IDs for liquor purchases in the state. Bob Battles of the Association of Washington Business testified in favor of the bill.
It's a system, it's a high-tech system that allows them to deal with the issue of fake IDs and the concerns there. It also allows, what it does is you log into the system, you opt into it, you upload your ID, but that does not get stayed in the system. It eventually moves. This is actually a good use of the technology. It's an opt-in system. It's reliable. It's already being used in our stadiums right now for non-alcohol food purchases.
Delaware North, concessions provider at Climate Pledge Arena, also shared their support for the bill.
We support the use of this technology and this highly sophisticated tool to combat both fake IDs and to verify that customers are of legal drinking age. This both limits our liability and it keeps young people safe. Use of this technology, specifically at Climate Pledge, will lead to reduced wait times and further enhance our fan experience.
No one testified in opposition.
New report has unveiled some details about the ways people spend their time and money in the outdoors in Washington state. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife released a report last week that found more than 7.5 million people participated in hunting, fishing, and wildlife watching in our state in the year 2022. In turn, those people spent a combined $9 billion on trips and gear. Wildlife watching was by far the most popular activity covered in the report. The data showed that about 6.2 million people watched wildlife in 2022. Fishing came next with 1.2 million participants, and hunting a distant third with just under 300,000. Those numbers include residents and non-residents, but the majority were Washingtonians. The report found that 4.4 million Washington residents participated in wildlife-related activities in 2022, or about 72% of the state's population. This is Newsradio KONP.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The Matthews family are still loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Are you looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B apiary honey. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop by. They love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardener since 1977.
Calling all parents of teens. Is your student getting ready to head to college or career training? Do you want to support them in getting the most aid for school? United Way of Clallam County can help. In partnership with Peninsula College, United Way is offering free student financial aid navigation for both parents and students. Go to unitedwayclallam.org/FAFSA-WASFA today to schedule a one-on-one with Kennedy, Student Financial Aid Liaison.
Happy New Year!
Make 2024 the best year it can be by starting things off right. Declutter your life by getting rid of things you don't want. Start a new hobby or learn a new skill. Make new friends. Anime Cat will help you start your 2024. We buy your unwanted video games and card games. We'll introduce you to new hobbies, including popular card games. Join a store board game or role-playing group. Start the new year at Anime Cat in downtown Port Angeles. We're open 7 days a week, a half block west of the downtown Port Angeles fountain.
I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world. I wanted to be an army man or a fireman, and I got to do both. As a firefighter, my job was about saving lives. I never thought one day I would be fighting for mine.
After spending his career answering the call to save others, Ken was diagnosed with ALS. Now he's facing his biggest battle, for more time. For 70 years, Muscular Dystrophy Association has been answering the call to help people live longer and more independent lives.
MDA means to me hope.
MDA is leading the way for people living with ALS, muscular dystrophy, and other neuromuscular diseases by accelerating research, advancing care, and advocating to empower families like Ken's.
I wouldn't be living as good of a life with ALS if it wasn't for MDA. MDA is helping people live stronger and love longer. Learn more at mda.org today.
On to the weather forecast, where showers will increase through the afternoon. Highs mid-40s to low 50s today. Cloudy and rain showers through the evening and tonight. Look for lows in the mid-30s to low 40s, and then we are in for a long, wet pattern. Could be a little breezy, too, tomorrow with rain at times. Highs in the mid-40s to low 50s with southeast winds to 25 miles per hour. The rain continues Wednesday night with lows near 40. Rain showers Thursday, mid-40s to low 50s for your highs. Thursday night, clouds and rain, lows near 40. Cloudy and rainy on Friday with highs in the upper 40s. Rain Friday night, lows in the low 40s. This gets a little redundant. Rain at times on Saturday with highs in the low 50s. Rain at times Saturday night, lows in the low to mid 40s. More rain on Sunday with your highs in the low to mid 50s. Back to work on Monday. Rain. Yeah, highs will be in the mid to upper 50s. Sorry, I couldn't do better than that, but we don't have any snow or real cold temperatures, so I guess that could be a win, but going to be a very long, wet streak. Right now, lots of clouds and a little bit of drizzle in spots across the North Peninsula. It is 50 degrees at last check in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, they're at 49. It's 50 in Sequim. 49 in downtown Port Angeles, and out at Fairchild Airport here in PA, checking in at 52 degrees.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Sequim Valley Chapel in Sequim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show, do join us. We're going to be talking about scams in our area with Sheriff Brian King. Clallam County Sheriff Brian King is going to be in. And in the second part of the program, we'll be chatting with the Executive Director of the Olympic Peninsula Lodging Association, Brian Heberling. We'll be getting more of their take on the proposals for regulation of short-term rentals in Port Angeles. Big hearings are coming up on that. We'll get their take on that. That's all next hour on the TO Show here on KONP.
When shopping for building supplies, lumber, home goods, or hardware items, are you traveling to one of those big box stores? When you wander those big box store aisles, how's that customer service? Absent? Possibly lacking in knowledge?
I don't know.
At Angeles Millwork and Hart Nichols, we have 2 convenient Port Angeles locations, and each one is far from the big box store experience.
Yay!
Since our stores are employee-owned, each one of us has a vested interest in how we serve and treat our customers. You won't find us hiding in the back aisle or turning the other way when you make eye contact for help.
They can't see me if I can't see them.
We're excited to share our day with you while making sure we set the bar high for what true customer service is all about. So if you're looking for a hometown building supply store that treats their customers like next-door neighbors, has deep knowledge on building products while continually supporting the local community, then avoid those trips out of town and come see us today. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove-wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-631-9123, 800-631-9123. That's 800-631-9123.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just minutes to go ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, and stocks are on track to end the day mixed, but little changed. The S&P 500 on pace for a third day in a row of a record closing high. Right now, the Dow's down 0.25%, the Nasdaq up by 1/3, the S&P up 0.25%. All that after earnings, solid earnings from United Airlines because more people were flying. From Procter & Gamble, thanks to charging higher prices to consumers, and Verizon, which added the most mobile customers in 2 years last quarter. But the Dow weighed down by the industrial giant 3M, which posted a weak sales and profit outlook for 2024. Those shares down almost 12%. The big decliner is shares of Vroom, the once popular used car retailer, now down 41% after announcing plans to wind down that business. No money in it. And TikTok, the latest tech company to lay off workers, it's shedding about 60 jobs in the U.S. in its advertising and sales unit. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check in the noontime traffic next. Brought to you by Angelus Furniture and Olympic Medical Center.
New year, new furniture. At Angelus Furniture, you'll see huge savings on FlexSteel and Stanton. While supplies last, you'll see savings from 25 to 50% off. The FlexSteel, Theo, Stewart, Shaw, or Jenkins power recliners are only $12.49. If a sofa is what you need, the Broadway is on sale for just $19.99. Stanton has power lift chairs for as low as $9.99. 0% financing OAC on purchases over $1,000. The New Year clearance sale going on now at Angelus Furniture.
Exciting news to keep you on your feet. 2 new podiatrists have discovered Olympic Medical Center and have joined our team. Ready to elevate your access to foot health care, Dr. Olga Dromiertsky and Dr. Jared Davis have joined the team alongside Dr. Adam Kilpack. Whether it's pain, sports injuries, diabetes, or general foot wellness, the OMC Podiatry team has you covered. Discover your next steps towards foot health at olympicmedical.org/podiatry.
Newsradio KONP. Traffic and roads.
At the Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go. One last time this hour. Steve's got a check on the traffic for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're doing pretty good overall. Both Port Angeles and Sequim area traffic. It's busy out there, but traffic is moving along fairly smoothly. Just some slowdowns at the stoplights, especially the Port Angeles area, at least First Street, Front Street, those areas a little bit on the busy side, but shouldn't be too much problem making your way through town. Now, if you're on the highway between Port Angeles and Sequim, you have light to moderate traffic out there. It is moving along the speed limit so far. No real problems or issues out there. Beyond Sequim, Hook Canal Bridge, good to go with no scheduled marine openings, and looks like state ferries are all running on time today. West End traffic, 101, is in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. A few spotty rain showers, just light to moderate traffic, and things are moving along pretty smoothly out there. So just enjoy your drive if you're headed out that way. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Well, now hear this. I mean, really hear it. There's a new way to manage your money. ABC's Daria Albinger has that story.
It's no secret that TikTokers are loud and proud about things like their dance moves and their style choices. For many, that mindset also applies to their finances, and that's what's behind the loud budgeting trend. Basically, you do what a lot of us were taught not to do growing up. You talk about your money, or in this case, you share your savings goals. Advocates say it holds you accountable, and so far, loud budgeting videos have more than 10 million views. Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
Well, a couple of records tied or broken with the latest song to top the charts. More on this from ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Another number one single for Ariana Grande. Her latest song, Yes And, debuts at number one on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, her 8th number one and 6th to debut in the top spot. That ties her with Taylor Swift for the most number one debuts among female artists. And producer Max Martin sets a big record with the track. It's his 24th number one as producer, passing the Beatles producer George Martin as the producer with the most number ones of all time.
All right. People never seem to run out of creative reasons for being out of the office. Some hiring managers were asked recently to describe the most imaginative explanations they've ever heard from employees who wanted time off. And here are some of the strangest reasons. Here's one. My brother needs me to drive him to the airport. The manager knew the woman was an only child. My garage door is broken. And the manager knew the woman did not actually have a garage. I'm taking a few days off to start my own business. That actually was used once. I'll be out this afternoon on some job interviews. And another one said I need a leave of absence to try out another job. But if it doesn't work out, I'd like to come back.
Anyone who's ever had their car stolen wonders, was it sold for parts? Where the heck did it go? The answer, a lot further than you might think. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. Let's head to Toronto, Canada for this story. That's where car owner Andrew had his SUV stolen right from his driveway. Good news. Andrew hid an AirTag inside it. He tracked where his SUV went through his Apple Find My app. First, the SUV was taken to a nearby rail yard. Then it went right over to the Port of Montreal. After that, the AirTag went offline. But Andrew wasn't out of luck. 50 days later, his SUV's AirTag suddenly went online again. Where was it? Nearly 7,000 miles away in a used car lot in the United Arab Emirates. So on Apple, buy an AirTag. Team Android, get a tile tracker. Pop it in your car's engine bay with some Gorilla duct tape. Now you always know where your car's located. Enter to win a $1,000 PC or Mac right now at commando.com/win. As we wrap up the year and usher in the next, it's a perfect time to reflect on what truly matters, the people we love most. This year, resolve to keep them safer than ever with SimpliSafe Home Security. I trust SimpliSafe in my own home, and I recommend it to everybody. SimpliSafe is comprehensive protection for the whole home with advanced sensors that not only detect break-ins, but fires, floods, and other threats to your home. With new 24/7 live guard protection, monitoring agents can see, speak to, and confront intruders inside your home. Available only from SimpliSafe, allowing agents to stop crime in real time. And SimpliSafe's 24/7 monitoring costs less than $1 a day. That's half the price of traditional home security. So do what I do. Keep your home and family safer than ever in the brand new year. And here's a deal. Save 20% on your new system with a Fast Protect plan by visiting simplysafekim.com. You can customize your system in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com.
Water births have been a controversial topic in the obstetric community, but in-hospital water births may come with some benefits. We'll talk more after this.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them.
This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Water births aren't very common in the United States, especially compared to other parts of the world. But a recent study found that women who had in-hospital water births reported less pain, less bleeding, and there was no increased risk for C-sections. There is a big difference between risk to the mom and baby when you talk about an in-hospital versus a home birth. Women who desire a less medical birth experience should talk to their obstetrician or midwife about how to achieve that in an in-hospital setting. That way, in the event of an emergency, like a shoulder dystocia or umbilical cord prolapse, surgical help is seconds away, not miles away. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ash.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
LLS provided immediate financial support that helped me keep my business going through treatment.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
Rely on us for complete news coverage. We're Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. Primary voters in New Hampshire, the choice is Donald Trump or Nikki Haley. Both Republicans and independents can vote. Many Republican voters, including Brian Nadeau, prepared to go all the way with the former president, saying of Haley,
She's may want to do good, but she's no Donald Trump.
But when independent voter Helene listens, she likes what she hears when Haley speaks.
She's so well-spoken, so intelligent, and she has answers. She's not just, just criticizing everything. She tells us the problems, and then she tells us how she's going to fix them.
ABC News political director Rick Klein says the race has been dynamic.
Just since the first of the year, you've seen some big changes in this race. You've seen candidates coming and going. You've seen endorsements. You've seen ad drops, all these things, and it's had an impact. Nikki Haley's numbers have ticked up a little bit. And in fact, it looked at one point like she could challenge Donald Trump and even get into the single digits. But something happened just in the last week or so. Haley continued to rise, but Trump rose even faster. So you come into the day with a big Trump lead, 15 plus points in our 538 polling average.
Israel saying a half dozen soldiers were killed in southern Gaza.
24 killed in separate incidents. 21 of them died in a tragic accident, if you can call it that. An RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, was fired in the vicinity of a building that had just been wired for demolition, and there were troops inside. The bulk of those troops were inside, and then the explosion from that RPG caused a domino effect, if you will, essentially collapsing that building and all of the 21 soldiers that were inside. So a very strange incident, but again, highlights the dangers on both sides here.
ABC's Louis Martinez at the Pentagon. A state of emergency in effect in San Diego due to torrential rain and flooding. Monday was the wettest January day ever in the city. More than a month of rain falling in just 3 hours. Officials say hundreds of people were rescued from flooded homes. You're listening to ABC News.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
A judge in Georgia has unsealed a divorce case that could impact a case against former President Trump. Fannie Willis, the Fulton County DA, is facing allegations of having an improper relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. ABC Steve Osunsami's in Georgia.
Willis hired him as a special prosecutor to lead the case against the former president and his allies, who are accused of trying to overturn election results in Georgia.
There are allegations Wade paid for vacations with Willis with legal fees received from the case. Facial recognition technology misidentifies a robbery suspect. Now, that man is suing.
Security video from Sunglass Hut was put through facial recognition software, and the police were told,
"You can stop your investigation. We have your guy."
Harvey Eugene Murphy Jr. was identified as the robber despite being in California at the time of the holdup. Murphy's lawyer, Daniel Dutko, says the 61-year-old was later arrested in Texas. Before he was cleared of the Sunglass Hut robbery, he was assaulted in jail.
He's very upset and he's traumatized by everything that happened.
And Murphy is suing for $10 million. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Groundhog Day is next week. That's when Puxatawny Phil will emerge and predict whether we'll have an early spring or if we'll have to endure 6 more weeks of winter. But now PETA, the animal rights group, is calling for a change. They want to send a giant gold coin to replace the famous groundhog, saying Phil's predictions are just as reliable as a coin toss. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Valentine's Day is here. This year, give the ultimate gift. Name a star after your sweetheart. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For 45 years, we've named millions of stars for celebrities, dignitaries, and individuals worldwide. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can give the most memorable gift. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Bathfitter does showers? That's right. We offer a wide selection of beautiful and functional showers. We can even convert your bath into a shower. With our seamless one-piece walls and hundreds of design options, you'll get a beautiful new shower guaranteed for life. Bathfitter's been around for 40 years, and we've been experts at showers for just as long. Bathfitter, it just fits.
At Bathfitter Northwest, pay nothing until 2025. Just call 800-NEW-BATH. OAC, see store for details.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results, 457-6600. The Dream Playground Rebuild Project in Port Angeles now tentatively scheduled to begin the third week in May. Since the playground's main structures were burned to the ground in the wee hours of December 20th, the public's gone from an initial shock to calling for a rebuild as soon as possible and backing those words up with some serious fundraising. Dream Playground Foundation President Steve Methner says the plan is to rebuild the playground to look just like the old one and try to do it as quickly as possible. That, he believes, is the best for children so they can get back to playing on the structures that they are used to. The estimated cost to rebuild it, $500,000. About half of that money's already been raised.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon, with daytime highs approaching 52. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Isolated rain showers likely tonight. Lows dip down to about 40. Cloudy skies expected. Overcast skies tomorrow. Isolated rain showers likely. Daytime highs approaching 49. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 52.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. I'm going to spend the first part of the show today talking with Brian King. He's the sheriff in Clallam County. We're going to talk scams today. And Brian is no scam. He's going to be informing us about scams a little bit. So, Brian, it's great to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. It was just the timing was perfect. It's that time of the year where we're moving into tax season. And that's really when the scams start to surface. And a lot of our residents fall victim to some of these scams, and so I felt it important to talk about it ahead of the season.
Exactly. Now, demographically, as we are here, maybe we are a bit more susceptible, and I hate to kind of, pigeonhole us, but we are an older, maybe less techies type of a lot of residents that, just can easily fall for some of this.
Absolutely. So, we, as we move from west to east, and east particularly our most vulnerable population here in the county. It's very easy, especially, not growing up in the era of scams. It's much more easy for you to fall victim to them. Mm-hmm. And so we've been really aggressive as a sheriff's office in trying to, especially do a lot of outreach on the east side of the county, and particularly Sequim, just to notify our residents there that they are the preferred targets of most of these scammers.
Right. So tell us about kind of what is happening in Clallam County, because you were mentioning to me before we went on the air that there's some specific things that are, I don't want to say they're unique, but we seem to be maybe more susceptible or we're being targeted with.
Yeah, so one of the most popular scams right now is the jury duty scam. And that's simply receiving a phone call, and it's usually from a trusted, respected law enforcement officer here in the county, usually somebody who's been had some media attention even recently, and all of a sudden we see a lot of robocalls to our residents, and it'll be to the effect of, you failed to show up for jury duty, you have a warrant for your arrest, please call this number to arrange to make payment. And just in the past month, we received a plethora of phone calls from the public directing at this, and it's been everything from our sheriff's deputies to Sequim police officers.
Got it. It's unique. I mean, obviously, they do enough homework so they can pick a name that will be familiar to people here in their jurisdiction where they're going to make these calls.
Yeah, absolutely, and that creates a level of susceptibility even greater than in the other scams, because it appears to be quite genuine when in fact it is a complete scam, usually originating in other countries many times.
So tell us what really happens. You don't do a phone call like that. There's not an arrest warrant that is put out on a jury duty issue unless there's something pretty heinous that's going on.
I am confident in telling the public that I've never seen anybody arrested nor a warrant issued for failing to attend jury duty. Nor would we ever call you up and ask for payment over the phone to take care of a warrant. It just does not happen.
Any kind of warrant, really, right?
Absolutely.
Even if it is legitimate, they're not going to ask you to pay for it to get out.
Any kind of warrant. And, I will say that as a law enforcement officer, I picked up the phone. I've called people and I've said, hey, you have a warrant for your arrest. Please surrender to the court. You might see that, but there's never, ever going to be exchange of dollars over the phone, especially what's often common with these scammers is paying by either credit card, of course, or even paying by a gift card, which is often requested.
Yeah, which is a crazy thought. And I guess that would really raise a red flag, because I don't think anybody would ask for a gift card, but yet people do. They'll go get a gift card, they'll do the whole thing.
And we have had plenty of victims in Clallam County that have done just that. And there's pressure tactics involved too. It's like, pay this now, or within 2 hours we are going to show up at your front door, arrest you, and take you to jail. So there's a lot of pressure associated with this, and just remember that we don't operate in the world of pressure. We come and knock on your door if you really need to go to jail.
And probably, we're most susceptible. Again, it goes back to what we talked about, people who are very law-abiding. They want to play by the rules. They feel terrible that they've done something wrong, and they're going to try to. Oh my gosh! That plays into it. That's part of the fear.
Absolutely. To the lay person, we will get this little certificate in the mail, and it'll say, "Hey, this is your upcoming jury duty obligation." Just like me, and I'll admit it, sometimes you put it on the fridge, you may forget about it, may fall off the fridge, you put it. There is there's just circumstances in life that come up, but as law-abiding citizens, we will want to meet our civic obligations, our civic duties, and so when we hear something like that, we question its validity, and and I just want to deliver that message that please don't fall victim to the scam.
And correct me if I'm wrong, though, if you were to get a call from anybody in any sense that you'd missed your jury duty, it's going to be the clerk of the court that's going to call you, not the sheriff.
It's not going to be the sheriff. Yes, it'll be the clerk of the court, and for most instances, there are always enough jurors that show up in real time.
Yeah, it's only when it's dwindled to a point with sickness or whatever else that they're down to a critical mass.
It gets to that critical mass, and so.
All right, so the jury duty one is going around. It still is happening. All right, so give us another one.
And the one that's really popular. Unfortunately, I hate to say popular here in Clallam County, but there's a grandparent scam, and this one surfaces and it goes away for a bit, then it resurfaces. But it starts typically with a phone call, to one of our elderly residents, and it's a scammer trying to impersonate one of their grandchildren.
Yep. I'm just going to say right now, and my mom will not mind me saying this, she got one of those. Mm-hmm. She nearly fell for it for a bit because it actually, by coincidence, was very specific in where her granddaughter was or could have possibly been in all of this. So anyway, I'll continue. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of questioning that involves in that, and it can be you can call a grandparent that has 10 grandchildren, and then they begin to name their grandchildren. Oh, is this Emily? And they're, yes, it's me, Emily, and I'm at school and I got arrested and it's going to take $1,000 for me to get out of jail. Or we've even seen it morph into I'm going to get kicked out of school if I can't pay my tuition. So that's a pretty popular scam, especially when scammers are playing on the demographics of our communities.
Absolutely. All right. So, the key is in that you get a call like that, just hang up. Right.
Hang up. If you question the validity of the caller, call the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And, that's real important that we want, anytime I want to plant it into everybody's mind that there's resources for you to check on scams. I mean, you can Google the type of scam, or even Google the phone number that the call is coming from, and it'll tell you right away, because multiple people will be reporting this number, this type of scam that's occurring. But certainly we want you to talk to a sheriff's deputy, and we want to talk you through it and convince you that it is one.
Let's talk a bit about how the sheriff's office plugs into this. I mean, this is outreach. You're really just trying to get people aware of it, but how much how far can you go in enforcement and trying to chase some of this down? Where what does the Clallam County Sheriff's Office do?
It is nearly impossible unless it's a local scam, like let's say involving like the purchase of a vehicle over Facebook, and it's maybe a local purchase. And I was talking with my chief deputy about this before I came on the air today, about a scam that she was working through with a friend last night about the purchase of a vehicle, and I will deliver the vehicle if you front me $300 or $400, ask for some earnest money up front, and I'll bring you the vehicle tomorrow. So there's those type of scams that can occur locally, but most of the time, 99% of the time, the technology involved in delivering these scams, most of it is untraceable for us.
Yeah.
And so we need to focus on the education component so you don't fall victim to it.
And the part you just said where you can help people through this, or at least to start being a bit more empowered in recognizing what's going on.
And, and a lot of times we get the call after somebody's already committed dollars and cents to one of these scammers, and through the Federal Trade Commission and through helping you communicate with your banks, that we have been successful in pulling back some dollars. So it's really important that if you recognize even that you've already been scammed a little, because once you've been scammed just a little bit, the scammer will keep coming back for more and more and more. The quicker you can report that to us, the quicker we can help you maybe draw back some of those funds before they disappear into the World Wide Web.
Yeah, that's just phone scams. I mean, then you get into all this internet stuff, phishing and all of that thing that happens too, where you're getting emails and you're getting, click here, and that's a whole nother game.
Yeah, absolutely. Your next guest, the other Brian, he was showing me on his phone a scam text that he got and involved a bank, and it looks like a pretty legitimate bank. But when you're getting texts from your banks on your phone and they're asking you to change your password or to enter some personal information, or a transaction did not go through, your bank is not going to communicate with you in that fashion. And if you have a question, concern about a transaction, call your bank. Yeah. That's what they're there for.
Scams keeps you pretty busy, though. I mean, there's a lot of this stuff going on.
It keeps us real busy, to the tune of, we were working at, it's a more of a complex internet scam, just last week to the tune of several $100,000 going out the door from one of our county residents. And so those are obviously ones that we then elevate to work with our federal partners to see what we can do. As far as, identifying commonalities occurring across the United States, even across the world. And really, there is always an importance just beyond the local level when we deal with especially serial scammers, really sophisticated scammers. And that's like, our federal partners are really focusing on collecting data, collecting information that we can identify target domains, target really these drug trafficking and criminal enterprises that are working against us, nationally, to be able to do what we can to interdict some of these funds moving globally. What
is the tipping point for you to get the feds involved in something like this? I mean, you just mentioned, but is there a certain dollar amount that they will get interested in, or what?
It's a dollar amount. They certainly look at, we're not going to bug them. Usually we never bug them for anything less than $100,000.
Yeah.
But it's when that equates into a common scheme too. So oftentimes we don't know everything that they know. And so when we share that information, they may say, oh, we have 10 other victims here in Western Washington that we're working with. And so that becomes part of a larger investigation. So we have databases that we utilize to share information. We look for those commonalities, and that's really what elevates it to, now we have not just one victim, but we have multiple victims, and then that's really where they get more and more and more interested.
All right. There used to be a scam going around all the time, but they were like benevolent funds, where it was kind of like a firefighter ball, or it was a policeman's ball, something like that as well. I haven't heard as much of that lately, but is that still going around?
Not as much, but yeah, the charity scams. What we're seeing most nationally with most of those scams is it's mostly following natural disasters.
Right.
And so what we're seeing is communities attempting to recover, and people getting ideas of like, there's been an earthquake here. And so nationally, we really want to give in order to restore that community. So that's the most popular right now is, if it isn't the Red Cross, I'm not sure that you should be
people are following, after the Maui fires, there was a lot of scams that went on with that, right?
Yes, and that's a perfect example of really when the scammers come out of the woodwork. And it will be emails, it will be text messages, it will be phone calls. And they will ask for quick and easy credit card payments over the phone. They'll promise you maybe a receipt or something to the effect, but typically not. And again, we talked about even, in those times where we want to give, where we want to help other people, is the perfect opportunity to have when our guard is down. So it's important that we pay attention to that.
All right, before we run out of time, but give us the kind of the sage advice, if you will, if you just tell our listeners so that we can protect ourselves. What's your message to people out there?
If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Pay close attention and please call us if you have a question. Call us as soon as possible so we can help you pull back some dollars.
Yeah. they'll get mad at you when you tell them that you can't talk. You want to call them back. Yeah, it's a good way to end a conversation too. So,
and I would tell you that I've received plenty of scams, and I love to talk to scammers. I like to tell them exactly what I feel.
Yeah, it can get kind of fun depending on what kind of mood you're in, but it's also kind of scary because when you think your grandchild has called you from the other side of the country and is in trouble,
it's high pressure, and we all want to do what's best. And
all right. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, tax time, this seems to be a time of the year that, even in the holidays, but even after that, this is when, I don't know, I get more of these calls and more of these texts, it seems like.
And we're really giving up. And so, one of the popular scams with the IRS right now is emails and text messages. It appears to be from the IRS. Oftentimes it's like, we've identified more funds from the previous year that we owe you. So, a tax return back to you. And so, of course, they're playing as like, oh, geez, you've identified $560 more from my previous return. You click on the link, you give them your bank account number, and the next thing you know, money isn't going into your account, it's coming out of your account.
Right.
And so that one that becomes real popular this time of the year as we begin to file our taxes. And even in reverse, we often see threats that if you don't pay your 2022 tax bill right now to the IRS, then there's a warrant going to be issued for your arrest.
And we start out on that again, right?
We go down that path. So,
best thing, if it's too good to be true, it is, as you just mentioned. Also, call the sheriff's office. You guys have great tips, and I know you can get us in touch with some resources about things that we should be aware of.
We want to help you through this because this is we have more people fall victims of scams than any other crime here in Clallam County.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. So, all right, Brian, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Todd.
No scam at all. Brian King from the Clallam County Sheriff there, and just be aware and be alert. And if it's too good to be true, call the sheriff's office and let them know what's going on, what kind of call you might have gotten. We're going to take a break. We'll check in with some news coming up next.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, old-fashioned customer service never goes out of style. We've been closing real estate transactions in Clallam County for 40 years and have earned the repeat business of our customers. We treat people with respect, do what we say, put the security of our customers' funds and information as priority number one, and always provide service with a smile. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title. See why we've been voted best title company in Clallam County over and over again.
Hi everyone, this is Leslie Robertson from the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to invite you to the 2023 Port Angeles Community Awards Gala. This year, the gala will be held on Saturday, February 3rd at the stunning new Field Arts and Events Hall on the beautiful Port Angeles waterfront. This inspiring evening will feature signature cocktails, great food, and excellent company, and it will celebrate the best and brightest in our community in 6 different categories. The awards categories are Educator of the Year, Young Leader of the Year, Citizen of the Year, Organization of the Year, Emerging Business of the Year, and Business of the Year. At the gala, all 3 finalists in each category will be celebrated and a winner will be announced. Once again, that's Saturday, February 3rd at Field Arts and Events Hall, and you can get your tickets at portangeles.org. We'll see you there.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One, serving the community since 1958.
A new year brings resolutions, some achieved and some broken. How about you make them a little easier with the help of Fogtown Coffee? Resolve to treat yourself today and every day. Basic to the unique, hot, iced, spritzed, and blended, Fogtown has something for everyone. Don't forget the snacks and breakfast items served all day. You can even go inside and pick yourself out some fancy Fogtown merch. Fogtown Coffee Bar on East Front in Port Angeles. Open 7 days a week.
Hey, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Great advice there from Sheriff Brian King about scams, being aware of what's going on out there. And we do have some that are prevalent here in Clallam County. We're going to take another break. We'll get caught up with the news at the bottom of the hour. Then we're going to talk in the next segment a bit about the Olympic Peninsula Lodging Association's position on the proposals for short-term rental regulations in Port Angeles. That is starting to come to a head even more so. And we'll chat with the Executive Director of the OPLA, Brian Hibberling. That'll be in our next segment coming up.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Bath Fitter does showers? That's right. We offer a wide selection of beautiful and functional showers. We can even convert your bath into a shower. With our seamless one-piece walls and hundreds of design options, you'll get a beautiful new shower guaranteed for life. Bath Fitter's been around for 40 years, and we've been experts at showers for just as long. Bath Fitter, it just fits.
At Bath Fitter Northwest, pay nothing until 2025. Just call 800-NEW-BATH. OAC, see store for details.
The Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Washington road deaths reached a 21-year high in 2022. Spokane Valley State Senator Mike Padden is sponsoring a bill requiring State Patrol to establish a pilot program for oral fluid swabs, roadside screening devices that test saliva for the presence of drugs.
We're in a crisis situation on our roads. I'm glad we're going to have more state troopers out there. That'll help. But this is an excellent tool that has worked in a number of states.
Of the 740 traffic deaths in 2022, 389 of them involved drug or alcohol-impaired driving. A bill targeting natural gas that did not pass the legislature last year getting a second run. House Bill 1589 passed the House Tuesday on a 52-45 vote. It bans any gas company with over 500,000 customers from connecting natural gas lines for new residential or commercial buildings. The main provider affected is Puget Sound Energy. And one of the most horrifying chapters in state history has come to a close as the last remains associated with the Green River Killer have been identified. In 2003, Gary Ridgway told investigators he left a set of remains along Kent-Des Moines Road. The DNA genealogy tracing company Othram identified the remains as those of Tammy Lyles, a teenage girl from Everett. Ridgway was sentenced to life in prison after pleading guilty to 48 murders. He later pled guilty to a 49th. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 52. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Isolated rain showers likely. Tonight, lows dip down to about 40. Cloudy skies expected. Overcast skies tomorrow. Isolated rain showers likely. Daytime highs approaching 49. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 52.
Welcome back to the program. I'm going to spend the rest of the hour today talking about the Olympic Peninsula Lodging Association, more specifically about some of the proposals that are floating around right now from the city of Port Angeles about short-term rentals. And we welcome the executive director of the OPLA, Brian Heberling. This is a relatively new group that has quickly formed and legitimately has turned into an association as well. And I guess maybe we can talk about how this came together. And then maybe another question is, after all of this, does this group stay together in some ways? Because I've been, frankly, quite impressed how many people bubbled up in this debate and then joined up with this.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. We put this together in December after following a Facebook group that had gathered around 200 and something odd followers. And I and my partner, Leslie, were watching this happening up here. We are short-term rental operators in the Seattle area, and really just couldn't believe the whole thing, and went to meet with Stephen Paleo, who you've interviewed previously, and we got our heads wrapped around what really needs to be done. And there's a group called Rent Responsibly that offers assistance to alliances around the United States. So they were a really good source of information and guidance. And we just put the group together, and we have regular meetings, and I think we've come a long ways to communicate our message.
It's impressive in just a matter of weeks, I think, of getting a lot of that information out. And quite frankly, it was information that was not getting out in, I think, some of the standard channels when this whole debate emerged even last summer.
Well, the problem initiated by the city council putting this stoppage to cease and desist letters, basically, to homeowners operating in the residential zone, it just came out of left field. The law had been in effect since 2017 with completely no enforcement, no consideration to it at all. And all of a sudden, these people had the lights turned off. And that has not gone over really well.
And harkening back to the interview I had with Steve Paleo about this, I mean, there's quite frankly a grand majority, if I understand this right, of these operators are, 1 and 2 room type operators looking to supplement maybe a retirement income. I mean, that's really the gist of most of these, right?
Very much so. There's no corporate entity that operates these things in mass, and most of these people that have these homes, they're scraping to get by, honestly. And there's a whole ecosystem behind this thing, between the people that clean the houses, the maintenance people, this extra money that these homeowners need to survive in a pretty tough economic climate. And so it's taken kind of a life of its own to think that everybody's getting rich on this and keeping homes, affordable homes, out of the public domain, which is something we completely disagree with.
3%. Tell us about that, because isn't that a number that I know Steve had kicked around in your research about this, about really when we talk about home stock?
Home stock is
less
approximately
than
3%. We're trying to get real data from the city as to what the denominator of that is to exactly how many homes are we talking about, and it's kind of a moving target, but it's approximately 3%.
And I'll pose this to you. Now, you operate an STR not in Port Angeles, but in Seattle. But maybe the same question. If you couldn't operate that, would you then what would you do with your property, I guess? Would you sell it back would it become part of just because that's the argument I think some are making, is that, if we don't allow these to happen, these will just get put onto the market and therefore become, houses for somebody.
I think, in our case, no, we wouldn't necessarily sell it. I'm not sure exactly what we'd do, to be honest with you. But the line of thinking that those who oppose and believe that we are affecting affordable housing, it's a big canyon to get over for a house that is in the neighborhood of $500,000 and multiple bedrooms, fully furnished, to think that somehow that is going to trickle down and become an affordable house for somebody in Port Angeles. It's just not going to happen. And it's really unfortunate that they make that connection, because it completely diverts from the real cause of this, and that's the city of Port Angeles not building any apartments, no affordable housing, nothing. There's been one apartment building built in the city of Port Angeles in the last 15 years. And that's just a crazy number.
You have, and I think all along, and correct me, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth at all, have in your group not ever said we're against some sort of licensing or tracking or, zoning, if you will, of where these can operate or how they can operate.
Yeah, completely contrary. We want regulations. There's in order to be successful, a person has to operate these things in an appropriate way. Be a good neighbor and do all of the things that keep the house up to par such that they get good reviews. And everything about it is to try and follow proper rules and regulations. But the city of Port Angeles hasn't spent the time yet to actually put proper regulations in place. And it's this knee-jerk reaction that's got us where we are today.
Some of this is that the evolution of these short-term rentals at Airbnb, the VBRO world, it has come on quite quickly in some sense. And I think perhaps, it's just like any municipality. It's like, well, I guess we never thought it because we're still living in the world of just traditional hotels.
Yeah,
and that being it.
And COVID had a lot to do with that, of course, because there were people that just wanted to get out of Dodge and get up to some place where they felt like they weren't in a big city environment, and that precipitated people then purchasing these homes and operating them as vacation rentals. But once again, though, it's not a get rich quick scenario, and it has calmed down now from even a demand standpoint after COVID.
Now, I want to get your take on the survey results that came out, and also a bit because in this moratorium that happened, the city, gathered some data, came out with what it found the market looked like here. It found that the grand majority of these STRs were operating, quote unquote, illegally or out of zone, if you would. So that has led to now, how do you deal with that? How do you get them into compliance or whatever? We'll get to those proposals in a moment. But first, kind of your take as a group as to what that research showed. And then I want to get your take as to, there was a survey that just came out too that the city has done about where people land on STRs generally. And I think it's maybe a little different narrative than people may be surprised, I think, is what the general population feels about these things. They may have thought that they were a lot harsher towards them than they really are.
Yeah, and the survey results were very clear that the public is very much in favor of short-term rentals. They see it as an important housing stock for tourists, and it's not only tourists, it's people that may be remodeling their home, they need to move out for 3 months, or they've had fire damage or something. And the survey itself, unfortunately, was really very poorly designed. And as you stepped through it, you weren't allowed to go back if there was another question that informed you about something that you didn't realize when you answered the first question, and you were locked into this cadence that they put in there, and it I think would have been even more favorable towards STRs if it had been organized in a proper way.
But even that said, 60% said that they felt they were a good lodging option in Port Angeles. So it's more than half. 70% said they believe that some regulation short-term rentals should be in place. That's some. We should emphasize that's in some scope of that as far as the proposals go. And then the other part of this that I wanted to get your take is that of the alternatives, and we'll get into these alternatives now that the city's considering as it moves ahead. The most people seem to like the least restrictive option, it sounds like.
Yes.
Not surprising to you?
I'm glad to hear it, because the other options are a bit of over-regulation and a problem in search of a solution. And lost my train of thought there.
Well, this will help you. Let's just talk about what is a logical regulation for an operator of an STR. That said,
sure,
that's something that would work.
Yes, it's to have the normal things that we spoke about a minute ago. That you pay your taxes, you are a good neighbor. You have the regulations really are pretty straightforward, and of course you have your CO2 and smoke detectors, and you have a safe environment. From there, the unlimited selection, which is where, as you mentioned, most citizens thought that was the best idea, includes them being in the residential zone, which was the zone that the city came and caused the cease and desist letters to be issued. So we're in favor of it to be blanket across the city, and they are not on every block. I mean, it's a complete misnomer to think that they're on every corner. We analyzed it that there is approximately 1 STR per 8 city blocks in the residential neighborhoods.
That's surprising. I think from what, some of the narrative, I would have thought there were some areas where the whole block was STRs.
Not. We put it down in a mapping geomap and found that the most we ever found on one block was 3. And that was an unusual situation. But for the most part, there are no STRs in the neighborhood. So people make a bigger deal out of this than it really needs to be.
I was surprised in the city's own data when it came out was how much lodging tax dollars come from these rentals for the city every year. I mean, there's a tremendous sway, if you will. I mean, if you were to get rid of things as they are zoned right now, the city could be losing a tremendous amount of lodging tax dollars.
Sure, and this year it was approaching $425,000, and this goes to your BMX tracks and to all these various arts centers and groups around the city. And the hotel industry does contribute 70% of the total tax, but taking 30% right off the top is going to put a big crunch on a lot of different organizations.
Before we get into kind of what you would like as an industry here when this all shakes through, your thoughts about number of rooms. I mean, there's a supply-demand thing that happens with this as well. I think if you're going to run an some sort of a short-term rental, you got to do it in a way that you can actually make money at it, and that there's got to be a need for it. Apparently there is. Well, even with hotels we have here.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly a need for it, and they are small business entrepreneurs. They're simply trying to get by in their lives. And yes, bigger homes, you can charge more because, of course, you have more bedrooms, you can have more people stay there. But majority of these things are not big-time business. They may gross $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 at the tops on an annual basis, and most of the time that's in the 3 months of summer. So it's a very cyclical business, right. And it's not an easy business. There's a lot of work involved in this thing.
And to trickle down, as you mentioned, there's a whole industry that comes with that. People cleaning, doing maintenance, all of that get hired out. There's other jobs that come with this.
Right. We call it an ecosystem because it truly is that. And a lot of families may have one of the teen kids be the cleaner, and they get to make $60, and it's a way of getting them allowance and learning how to actually perform some tasks for money. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and to just pull the rug out from underneath it all, notwithstanding the economics into the community when these tourists do come to town, we estimate it's between $10 to $15 million spread around the restaurants and various shops around town. And we have a very strongly worded letter from the Port Angeles Business Association, somewhat lambasting the council for why are you doing this, and all of the reasons why they believe that this is a valuable resource for the city of Port Angeles.
I'm going to get into the alternatives in just a moment, but actually, let's do that. Let's talk about kind of what is laid out, because I think this is very interesting. We talked before we went on there. I want to set this up first. How much do you pay in Seattle for a license right now for your STRs?
Seattle is $85 for the license to operate a short-term rental in the city on an annual basis.
All right. So I'm just bringing that up to compare what's on the proposals right now that the city, and we should point out that tomorrow night the Planning Commission's getting the first public hearing on all of these alternatives. Nobody has weighed in yet. They're still in the collection of people's thoughts about these. But let's take us through a bit of, kind of this. Some of this is very, very expensive that's being proposed, just to get people into compliance, I should say. These are for those that are not properly zoned right now, if you were to...
We've compared it around the United States, and there's no metric that even comes close to what Port Angeles is requiring now. For just a simple license to operate is $1,236, but as you were saying, these people, to bring them into compliance, they are asking for a 3-year clawback, so it's a total of $4,500. And so what kind of sense does that make? These people are grossing maybe 30 grand, 40 grand, and they're making no differentiation between a 2-bedroom house and a 6-bedroom house. It's just $4,500 on the table to get back into business. At the same time, they pull the rug out from underneath them for this season, and they've lost money that they were expecting to make.
Wow.
So it's really a horrible situation. Now, on top of that, we get into fire and safety inspections, and they have a fee in the city of Port Angeles that's under $100 to do a fire inspection on a, whatever the phrase they used, a higher risk building or something.
Okay.
And yet here, for doing a fire inspection in a short-term rental, it's approaching $1,000. That makes no sense. I mean, it's a house, it's CO2 and a smoke detector is basically all they're looking at, and they want $1,000.
That's and I know this has been said a lot in the last number of weeks when these came out. Your group has really certainly come out and said that. You and some of your notes say that, I mean, you could get, if approved, one of these, it's almost $1 million. It's $919,000 in just enforcement fees for the city.
Yes.
That's in 1 year, right?
That's correct. That would be to take all the people that are in supposed noncompliance now and get the 3-year clawback. And if they were all to choose to do that or be able to afford to do that, it would be just short of $1 million.
Okay. So what is a reasonable approach then, as you go and testify for, like to the Planning Commission here? What is your group going to advocate for?
Well, we want these homes to be available throughout the whole city, first of all. The residential zone, to remove them from that is just nonsensical, because people use these types of lodging alternatives to avoid being in a hotel, and they want the sense of community and a sense of being in the place that they've come to visit. So to not have them operate in the regular housing area is just ridiculous. We are amenable to a balanced approach of how many of these things can exist in time. Many cities that are very vacation oriented have caps that are in the neighborhood of 15 to 20%. We're at 3%. So there's got to be some reasonable number that we can all agree upon. Maybe it's 5%. But the reality is this is not something where it is out of control. It's the exact opposite of that. And we're open to a lot of discussions, but it's not been handled very well, leading us to where we are today.
In a discussions that I've had with the city staff on this show in the past too, it's been brought up, and I just have you talk about this, relying on the third party, the platform, the VBRO, the Airbnb, whatever you may be using for your booking service to help. I don't want to say be part of the enforcement, but you've got to have this in order to be on a platform.
Well, certainly, and people that operate these make sure that they follow every rule that has to do with these platforms, or Airbnb will kick you off. I mean, they have party things, for instance.
Give us an example. I mean, how stringent is it to get on one of those booking platforms? Well, not just anybody can do it, right?
Sure. Well, it's not so much that it's difficult to get on it. It's easy to get removed if you are a bad operator.
Got it. Okay.
And parties are one of them. But, we look at this town of Port Angeles, and that is not the reason that people come to the Olympic Peninsula. That it's not Las Vegas here. It's they go out, have their recreation during the day, hopefully come back, visit a restaurant, wander around town, and get ready for their exploration the next day. So we're not a party problem. Yeah. And one of the things that I found really ironic when listening to people testify in front of council was their acknowledgement that on their block, if there were 3 or 4 houses that were rentals, by far the short-term rental house was the one that was the neatest, the cleanest, the most well-maintained, as opposed to the long-term rentals, lots of problems. And a lot of people are very reluctant to get into the long-term rental business nowadays. After COVID, you had a lot of people just would squat and it's very difficult to get somebody out. If they end up damaging the house, this just goes on and on and on. So to assume that these houses are going to be converted into long-term rentals if they were not operating as a short-term rental is just completely not realistic.
I want to go back at you in your notes to me, and I should have said you broke down the fees, the actual licensing for some other. Tell us about some of these other cities too, because I think that's relevant. We just talked about Seattle, but what it costs, like Bainbridge. Now there's a higher class, upper class. A lot of people may call that a vacation type spot.
We have Bainbridge Island at $65, Bremerton at $75, Olympia at $50. We do have two cities that charge a bit more, but the highest was Gig Harbor at $650.
But that's an initial fee, right?
Yes.
If I read this right, and then it's $40 a year after that.
Sorry, yes, that's exactly correct. So, right, on an annualized basis, the fees are generally in the $100 range.
How do they deal with the zoning in some of those places? Is it similar to here? I mean, do they give us a flavor
Most cities allow short-term rentals in all zones. It's very odd to have them excluded in particularly the residential zone. Now, you have a city neighboring here, Sequim. Okay, they don't have any regulations of any kind, and with one exception, they don't allow them in the commercial zones, which is what the city of Port Angeles is suggesting is the only zone that they can be in here. Well, you make sense out of that one.
So it's yours, pick your poison, whichever city you want to land in as to what might be allowable. All right. What's next with your group? I mean, obviously, I think you guys will probably be testifying in front of the Planning Commission and doing some other things as well. But
yeah, we're in constant communication with staff as the preliminary code was released and trying to get to the bottom of where this thing needs to land. Of course, we have tomorrow's Planning Commission meeting, which is going to be very interesting. All of the previous meetings have been in front of City Council, and now City Council is waiting for Planning Commission's recommendations, and we feel very good about what's going to come out of that. But there will be a whole ton of people down at City Hall tomorrow on both sides, speaking in favor of them, and we have a small group that's very much in disfavor of them.
And, the important thing is get there and partake. If you're a city resident, this is what this is all about.
Yeah, you get your 3 minutes, and if they have a lot of people, they knock it down to 2 minutes, but they just let them go until we're done.
And if you'd like to know more about Brian's group, Olympic Peninsula Lodging Alliance, all one word, .org, right? Did I get that right?
Indeed.
Olympic Peninsula Lodging Alliance.org. It gives some interesting information to kind of take on what they found in their own research as well. We're going to be crawling through this for a while because it sounds like this may not be a done deal for a number of months. We're still right at the cusp of this.
The city staff is pretty much done with this. They want to,
they need a recommendation.
They want to land the plane, as they say. And so, hopefully this will come together sooner than later. Thankfully, they released the exclusion to operate this summer,
right, which was what, and I guess you would consider that a win in your group, right? Because the way it hung there before, there was a possibility that you couldn't do any work if you were a non-compliant STR.
That's correct, and it's unfortunate though that a lot of people made longer-term decisions, put their house up for sale, then to find out 4 months later, oops, you're good to go. That's really caused a lot of chaos. It was totally unnecessary.
It's been quite a debate so far. Brian, it's great to have you. Thanks for coming in and sharing a little bit about your take from the Alliance about the STRs in Port Angeles.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's Executive Director of the OPLA, Brian Heberling. And we're going to take a break and wrap things up on our show right after this.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Enjoy all the colors of the season. Your enjoyment starts now with help from Airport Garden Center. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The Matthews family are still loving storekeepers to this day. Their family is dedicated to providing your family quality service and products for a fun, rewarding pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. Are you looking for a special, unique gift? Airport Garden Center is proud to support locally sourced items such as Full Moon candles and Pacific Rain Shadow Farms handcrafted soap and Miss B apiary honey. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials or just stop by. They love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
We're the talk of the peninsula. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
Did you know that hot water accounts for 15 to 20% of your electric energy use? Hi, this is Clallam PUD. Let's talk about heat pump water heaters, or hybrid water heaters. A heat pump water heater uses fans and an evaporator to efficiently extract warmth from the surrounding air, saving you up to 60% on your electric water heating costs. The PUD currently has an instant rebate of up to $900 when using a participating installer, or $600 if you're installing it on your own. Plus, the federal government is offering a $2,000 tax credit. Visit clallampud.net for more information.
It's time to get up off that thing and bowl until you feel better. And Laurel Lanes in Port Angeles is here to help. Looking for a great family activity that's also great exercise? Bowling. Looking to have fun with your coworkers? Bowling. Need to get out some aggression? Therapy. Or bowling, whatever. I mean, both are good. Laurel Lanes is open 7 days a week with options to even rent the place out for your party. Call 360-457-5858 to learn more. Laurel Lanes, where bowling is fun.
At Olympic Peninsula Title, we wear a lot of different hats. We're investigators, analysts, and the protectors of property rights. We seek a high standard of accuracy. Our commitment to exceptional service strengthens our mission. We reduce risk. We stay on top of the current issues affecting property rights. We sweat the small stuff to give our customers the peace of mind they deserve. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title, locally owned and family run since 1981.
The 2024 KONP Home Show is back. We are now accepting vendor applications for the largest two-day marketing event on the peninsula. Put your business in the middle of thousands of potential clients. The KONP Home Show will be Saturday and Sunday, March 9th and 10th, 2024. Sign up now for best locations and to lock in the lower rates. Call 360-457-1450. 360-457-1450. Get your space for the 39th annual KONP Home Show.
We're the talk of the peninsula. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. Voting is now underway in New Hampshire, the nation's first presidential primary, and there's a lot on the line for former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
Speaking with reporters at a polling place in Hampton, Nikki Haley scoffed at the notion that her campaign is in its last days.
I'm not going to talk about an obituary just because y'all think we have to talk about it. I'm going to talk about running the tape and saving this country.
While he's called on Republicans to get behind him, Donald Trump says he would never ask Haley to withdraw.
I don't care if she stays in. Let her do whatever she wants.
South Carolina votes in about a month, and Haley has said she's going to continue her campaign in her home state, even if Trump wins here tonight. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
There's also a Democratic primary taking place in New Hampshire, but President Biden is not taking part. The president is not on the ballot because he's opposed to New Hampshire having the first-in-the-nation primary. Biden supporters are staging a write-in campaign trying to stop Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips from winning the state. U.S. military airstrikes are underway in Iraq, targeting Iranian-backed militia groups. Officials say the attacks are in retaliation for this weekend's attack on an airbase in western Iraq. 24 Israeli soldiers were killed in Gaza, the single deadliest attack on the Israeli army since the war began in October. News of the attack came as reports were emerging of a ceasefire proposed by Israel. White House officials have not released specifics on those negotiations. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby.
I can't give you odds on if and when we'll be able to get there, but the conversations are very sober and serious about trying to get another hostage deal in place.
Israelis are demanding their government do more to bring the more than 100 hostages home. A big day for Oppenheimer, the film leading the Oscar nominations with 13, including Best Picture and nods for actors Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., and Emily Blunt. The movie Poor Things came in second with 11 nominations. You're listening to ABC News.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taiju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
I'm Lindsay Davis. For the latest on today's headlines, be sure to watch Prime tonight starting at 7 Eastern on ABC News Live. Now with more news, here's Dave Packer.
President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are turning the spotlight on abortion rights as they hold their first joint 2024 campaign rally in Virginia today. They're seeking to galvanize voters and push back against efforts to curb reproductive freedoms. As he marked the 51st anniversary of Roe v. Wade yesterday, Biden said restrictive abortion laws have no place in America. The IRS is trying something new, speaking in plain English. ABC's Andy Field explains.
The IRS sends out about 170 million "you owe us" or "you made an error" letters each year. Those letters often complicated, confusing, and